Hey guys, welcome back to the second episode of MMIW Unsolved but Not Unheard. For those of you that don't know, I'm Soli and I am the host of this channel. I hope that all you guys are doing really well, and I want to give you guys such a huge shout out for all of your support that you've given me, guys. It really does mean so much to me that you guys are enjoying these episodes. Um, and most importantly, I do want to take some time to thank you guys for your patience with me getting around to this second video. I have been really busy this past month with some traveling that I did. I actually went up to Michigan for a trip to visit my friend, and it was wonderful. If you guys never been to Michigan, I highly recommend that you guys go visit there. It is absolutely beautiful. We did a lot of hiking up there, so saw a lot of great sights. It was a much needed break for me. I've also been pretty busy with school these days. My workload has just increased since then, so now I'm just your average stressed out college student. And yeah, so originally I had a different case planned for today. Um, but it was a pretty big case. It did involve three different victims. Therefore, it was taking me a lot longer than I had anticipated to get through the whole study. Because of that, I did decide to switch gears and focus on a different case, which is what we're going to be going through today, just because it fit better with the time that I had available. Once I get back to that original case, I think I am gonna make that a two-part series, just because of the quantity of information that's in that case, and on top of that, the system that I use to make these videos has a 30-minute time limit on the videos, so we're gonna have to see. But yeah, so look forward to a possible two-part video series. That being said, let's get into today's case. Today, I'll be going over the recent tragic death of Mika Josephine Westwolf. She was only 22 years old when she was tragically hit by a car in Arlee, Montana. Mika was an enrolled member of the Blackfeet Tribe and absolutely loved and valued her culture. She was described by her mother as a strong and intelligent Native woman. Mika was a funny, happy, energetic, and loving person. She absolutely loved the outdoors and was an avid hiker. She even went on a life changing trip to Nepal and hiked up in the mountains there, which sounds so cool, by the way. I can't even imagine the experience for her, what that was like. Must have been absolutely beautiful. Micah claimed that the mountains in Nepal put the mountains in Montana to shame, which I thought was pretty funny. They must be pretty fucking big then. Um, on the day she died, Micah was walking down Highway 93 on the Flathead Reservation, making her way back home from the bar on the early morning of March 31st, 2023. It was on that walk that she was struck by a vehicle and was left to die on the side of the road alone. She was later found that same morning by tribal police at 4 a.m. Shortly after her body was discovered, an investigation on her death was conducted by the Montana Highway Patrol. So, despite the fact that she was found by tribal police, the case was given to the Montana Highway Patrol since her body was technically found on the roadway. Therefore, the case then belonged to or fell into the state's jurisdiction and was no longer the tribe's jurisdiction. Hours after Micah's body was discovered, the police apprehended the suspect, which was 28 year old Sonny K. White. The investigation revealed that it was White's Cadillac Escalade that had hit Micah. Despite this, White was only charged with 2 counts of child endangerment since her two children, get this, her two children, Arian 4 and Nation 2, were with her in the vehicle when the incident occurred. However, the child endangerment charges were later dropped, and any other charges against her were also dropped because the Lake County attorney, James, I'm gonna butcher this last name, but James Lapotka had not received a toxicology report or a phone search report from the Highway Patrol. The Highway Patrol also failed to give the attorney a final report on the case, which also led to the reason why he had to drop the charges against White. Now, I am going to let this information settle with you guys for a little bit, and I'll circle back to those facts pretty soon. So, from here on out is actually where this investigation gets a little bit weird. From what I was able to find out, is that there are some conflicting reports within this case. First, there are some reports that state that no toxicology report has been done on White to prove whether she did or did not have anything in her system that could have caused the incident. While there are other reports that state that a toxicology exam was done, and the results showed that White had trace amounts of fentanyl and meth in her system. And in that case, for the reports that did say a toxicology report was done on White, the highway police or the highway patrol refuses to further investigate that bit of evidence. Instead, they would rather wait until a toxicology report comes back on Micah before they choose to further investigate. Um, that is also the case for the reports that state that White has not had a toxicology report. It seems that there's a consensus that the Highway Patrol is waiting for Micah's report to come back. I did find it rather odd that the Highway Patrol was really focused on wanting to investigate whether Micah had any drugs or alcohol in her system. So I did look more into that. I wasn't the only one that had questioned that. In fact, Micah's family had questioned the lead investigator, Wayne Bieber, on why he and his team were doing that. And Bieber had stated that it was a necessary procedure since Montana has a law on how pedestrians cannot be intoxicated while walking on the roadway. He also stated that if it is true that Micah was intoxicated, then there would be no reason to press charges against White. Obviously, I do not agree with that because what the fuck? To me, that sounds like victim blaming and trying to flip the script as to the events that happened that night. Anyways, I decided to investigate that law, and it is true that the pedestrian cannot be intoxicated on the roadway. And here's the direct quote: uh, except in an unauthorized, or sorry, except in an authorized crosswalk, a person who is under the influence of alcohol or any other drug may walk or stand in the public right of way, as defined in 60 1 103, but not on a roadway or a shoulder that as is otherwise permissible under 61 8 5062, end quote. And you can find that under the Montana Code Annotated 2021, Title 61, Motor Vehicles, Chapter 8, Traffic Regulation, Part 5, Pedestrian Traffic, 61 8 508, Intoxicated Pedestrian. That is quite the mouthful. And although that is correct, that should not be a reason to choose not to prosecute White for her crimes. I find that completely backwards. I guess, yeah, backwards would be the best word that I want to use for that. I don't think that's a valid reason at all, to just shift blame away from White. She still committed a crime, and she should be prosecuted for that. A hit and run led to the death of Micah. So that's really messed up, in my opinion, that uh, that is the lead investigator's mindset with that as of right now. Um, Along with that, there are two theories as to why White had hit Micah with her car and just drove off. And with both theories, it seems that Wayne Bieber and his investigative team are either neglecting to further investigate those theories or are intentionally being slow with the investigation. One of the theories is that White was driving while intoxicated, as seen with the report that I had mentioned earlier. Some believe that to be true because White is known is known to be a drug abuser, and as I mentioned before, she did indeed have trace amounts of drugs in her system. Again, if this theory is true, the Highway Patrol are not being transparent with Micah's family and the public on that matter. This can obviously be seen to be conflicting with the reports and the lack of action to further investigate. However, I do not believe that theory to be true. I do want to state that this is just my opinion based off the facts I have formed or that this is just my opinion that I have formed based off the facts I have read. Uh, I just want the Highway Patrol to actually investigate this second theory because I do think that it is valid. As of right now, they are dismissing this theory, and not because there's not enough valid facts to back it, but rather they just don't want to look into that, which I find super, super odd. Um, Anyways, this second theory is that this was an intentional crime that was possibly racially motivated. And I back this theory for a few reasons. Firstly, the investigators have stated that there were no signs of skid marks or brake marks, nothing that would have indicated that White had attempted to stop or swerve out the way to not hit Micah. If there was evidence of skid marks or brake marks, then it would prove that this was an accident ish. And maybe that White had panicked and just chose to drive off in that state of mind. But there were no signs of that. Another reason as to why I believe that this was not an accident and was intentional and possibly a hate crime is that White named her children Aryan and Nation. Aryan Nation. If that doesn't imply that she is has white supremacist views, or that she is involved in a white supremacist group, I don't know what else. Yeah, it's just ridiculous to me. Just who in their right mind does that to name their children that besides a racist? Um, and although that is not enough to incriminate White or officially mean that she has ties to any sort of white supremacist group or ideologies, I do believe that is enough to warrant an investigation into her private life to see if that is true and if any of that at all played a factor into Micah's death, which is something that the lead investigator, Bieber refuses to do. As an investigator, he should be looking into every lead to help close out Micah's case and give her justice. But it seems that he is adamant on not doing so. as seen with his inaction to investigate on either working theory. So, that being said, I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts are. Which theory do you guys believe to be true? Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. As of right now, Micah's case is still considered unsolved, despite there being a named suspect. I do understand that there is a process and that investigations just take a minute to get through. I know there's just like, this nitpicky stuff that investigators and police have to get through. However, in Micah's case, it is clear that the Montana Highway Patrol are not doing their job to properly investigate this crime and are intentionally being non transparent to the victim's family and the public. Micah deserves justice. Now, if you guys are like me and are pretty outraged about this case and want to help, I did find a research or a resource for you guys to help the cause. So Micah's family actually created a website called Micah Matters, right? And I'll link that in the description below. I'll also put it on Instagram, so you guys can just find it quick. And in that link, you guys can find a GoFundMe page, to donate to help them um, put money into getting this case closed. If you guys don't have money, do not worry. Uh, there's also a link there for a petition that you guys can sign. I've signed that. I think they're almost at their goal mark, so please sign so they can actually get to their goal amount of signatures needed. On that website too, they even give you the phone number of the Montana Department of Justice, so you guys can call them. And there's a little script on there too, so you guys can just read off of that, easy peasy, to try to pressure the Department of Justice and the Montana Highway Patrol to actually do their jobs and get this case closed. So if you guys are able to do even one of those three things, that would be amazing. It would be very appreciated so we can actually get Micah justice. Um, that website is actually, in general, just a really good resource as well, because on top of it being dedicated to getting Micah justice, her family has also dedicated the site to also helping other missing and murdered Indigenous persons, relatives, to get justice as well. So you can even find a list on there of current missing or murdered Indigenous people on there who need justice, and you guys can go into your own little rabbit hole with that. I think I will also cover some cases on that list too, when I get the chance to get around to that. So just an overall really great source, and I really do hope that you guys contribute to that in any way. So, um, today I do want to give a shout out to Decolonial Clothing Company. This shirt that I'm actually, let me see if I can stand up a bit so y'all can see it. Bet. But this shirt that I'm currently wearing is one that I purchased from their store. And honestly, it is pretty fitting for this podcast since it is a MMIW shirt. On their website, they do have a few variations of this specific shirt. Like you can get it in a hoodie, t-shirt, that sort of thing, which I love, because they do spend a lot of time advocating for this cause. Specifically, they are backing the hashtag Search the Landfills movement, which is happening in Canada right now. They also have a bunch of different designs, clothing available that just helps promote Indigenous empowerment. And I think that is wonderful. Just overall great message that these guys are sending out. Y'all should definitely check out check them out and support an indigenous owned business. I will leave their store link in the description below. I'm also going to use this time to remind y'all that if y'all run an indigenous owned business and want a shout out, then please do not hesitate to reach out to me through email. I'll also leave that in the description below. Y'all should play a drinking game with you know, with how many times I say description below. Don't forget that if y'all have a case suggestion or wish to guest speak on this platform, then you are more than welcome to contact me through my email once again. And yeah, so that's all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in and just overall supporting me. It means a lot to me. You guys are very appreciated. I hope that y'all enjoyed today's episode and found it to be very informative. And please, again, give uh, that website, Micah Matters, a look. Um, and yeah, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your evening. Until next time, bye.